Hello and welcome to our Supplementary Election Studios, where we'll bring you all things elections from all states, where there will be governorship and state constituency supplementary elections today. I'm Ayo Makinde. Well, first of all, let's begin by letting you in on what the INEC chairman said about today's elections. While we're preparing to bring you that, just to let you know that the elections that are going to be happening today will happen. 4 states will be holding governorship supplementary elections, while 17 states will have state constituency elections, as well as the FCT, making 18 places in all today in Nigeria. Ordinarily, a total of 438,108 people should be voting today in 6 states. But going by all that's happened, all the court orders that INEC has had to listen to and deal with, it is clear that INEC will not be able to hold elections for the governorship supplementary elections in Bauchi today, as well as Adamawa for judicial reasons. In Benue, elections will hold in 22 local governments. In Kano, just as you can see on the screen, 29, Plateau 9, and Sokoto 22 local governments. And in each of those states, you see the number of people that will be affected. Benue will have 121,299 voters. Kano will have 128,831. Plateau, 48,828, and Sokoto, 75,403 people should be going to the polls today. As I mentioned earlier, by court order, the Commission is restrained from conducting supplementary elections in Adamawa State and collecting results for Tafawa Balewa local government area of Bauchi State, pending the determination of the cases in court. So the supplementary elections will hold in Benue, Kano, Plateau, Sokoto, and Bauchi, excluding Tafawa Balewa local government area. Of course, you can also see the states there where INEC will be holding state constituency elections, and there are, as I said, there are 18 of them, and a total of 585,138 people should be going to the polls today to elect their state lawmakers. So that's one thing that we should be giving a little bit of attention to. So these are indicators. Now, one of the things that I've also found out, which is something very, very instructive, is that we many times don't give so much attention to the importance of legislative elections, but to a large extent they determine a lot of things, perhaps even more significant than the executive. Yes, the executive is always in the news, but the importance of what the legislature does should not be undermined by anyone. So please, if you know anyone who should be going out to vote today, please encourage them to do that. In Adamawa State, the local government areas are Mayo and Belwa, as well as Hong local government. In Bauchi, it's going to happen in Kerfi local government area. In Bayelsa, it's going to be happening in Brass, Southern Ijaw, and Ogbia local government areas. So please, if you know anyone, of course, for those in Lagos, please call the attention of your friends at Ibejuleki local government area to get ready, because they need 12,711 of them need to go to Pt.1 today. That is the constituency, Pt.1 constituency. They should go there today and cast their votes and choose the people that they would like to have as their state representative in the House of Assembly. All right, that shot is ready. We can look at what INEC has said about today's election right now.
the Commission will issue guidelines for resumption of collation of results. And these guidelines will be issued from the headquarters of the Commission here in Abuja. Then we are also going to have what we call revalidation of polling agents and observers for the collation of results. This revalidation will commence on the 25th day of March and end on the 31st day of March 2019. And it will take place simultaneously in Abuja and in Port Harcourt. Then thereafter, there will be resumption of collation and announcement of results. Resumption of collation and announcement of results. And this will take place between the 2nd to the 5th day of April 2019. And it will take place in Port Harcourt. And the venue for this particular activity will be agreed upon between the Commission and the critical stakeholders in the electoral process. In relation to Adamawa State, we are going to hold elections in 2 state constituencies. One in Nasarawa Binyeri State constituency in Bewa local government, where the candidate died just before the elections and the Commission had to countermand the elections. So that particular election will proceed as scheduled.
All right, that's the INEC National Commissioner in charge of voter education and publicity, Mr. Festus Okoye, giving us information about what is going to happen today in some of these areas that we are expecting elections to hold. Talked about Rivers, and of course, we all know that Rivers State is a state of interest, and you know, election is not holding in Rivers. What is going to happen in Rivers, as announced, is resumption of collation of results, as well as announcements of the collation of the votes, as well as announcements of the results in Rivers State. Let's all give peace a chance and give Nigeria a chance to grow, in its efforts at getting things done. All right, we'll take a look at some of the states one after the other now, and some interesting things that you'll find out is that the states have a very, very interesting developments happening to them. Let's begin with Plateau State. In Plateau State, the election is going to hold, as has been announced, but in the governorship supplementary elections will hold. So far, what we have in Plateau State is, as at the last time before these supplementary elections will hold, is that the APC has 583,255 votes to PDP is 538,326. The total number of registered voters is 2,480,455, and the total accredited voters for the election was 1,157,025. Total valid votes is 1,154,678, and rejected votes 15,691. Now, the margin between the two parties is, the two leading parties, is 44,929. The total council votes is 49,377. In other words, the margin of lead between the two leading political parties is not as much as the number of cancelled votes, and that is why that is happening in Plateau State, as we mentioned earlier. If you want to take a look also at Bauchi State, it's pretty much the same. The number of rejected votes is 21,419. The number of cancelled votes is 45,312. This is Bauchi State now we're looking at. Now, the number of votes cancelled is a lot more than the margin of lead between the two political parties. That is what this election in Bauchi State is to determine today. Pretty much the same in Adamawa State, where the the returning officer, Andrew Haruna, the state returning officer, said votes were cancelled in 44 polling units across the state, and that's why the votes were declared inconclusive. The margin of lead between the PDP, that is leading, and APC, that is runner-up, is 32,476, compared to the number of cancelled votes, which is 40,988. That is talking about Adamawa State. So this is the reason that the election in Adamawa State is being retaken today. So pretty much the whole idea is, let's agree on who our governor is going to be and do it as cleanly as possible. Sokoto State is no different. The number of polling units in which elections were cancelled is 136, and with that, you know that it definitely is a significant number of polling units, and that's about 73,408 registered voters. The margin of lead right now between the governor as well as the runner-up, Governor Aminu Tambuwal and Ahmed Aliyu of APC. The margin of lead between the three of them is just 3,413, compared to the number of cancelled votes, which is 75,403. So it's like saying that the fate of the governor, Aminu Tambuwal of PDP, has, is pretty much hanging in the balance, as the state gubernatorial poll was declared inconclusive for pretty much the same reason we talked about, the margin of lead. Kano State is another very, very interesting one, and attention has been actually very, very interesting on that state right about this time. Governor Abdullahi Ganduje is struggling pretty much, as some would say, to maintain his hold, his lead, and remain in office in Kano State as governor, with 20,000 votes behind the PDP candidate Abba Yusuf. You'll find out that Bello Yusuf, the returning officer for that election, announced at the State Collation Center on Monday that the election is inconclusive because a total of 100,873 votes were cancelled. That is a significant number that can sway in anybody's direction as far as that election is concerned. We'll be going to some of our correspondents as soon as we have them to let you know some of the things that we have, going for us today in the elections. Okay, I mentioned Bauchi State the other time. There is something that the returning officer of Bauchi State earlier, I think. Let's take a listen.
Margin of lead between the PDP with 469,512 votes and the APC with 465,453 votes is 4,059 votes. The number of cancelled votes, even without the results of Tafawa Balewa, is 45,312. The number of cancelled votes, even without the results of Tafawa Balewa local government, is 45,312. The number of registered voters in the affected polling units of Tafawa Balewa local government is 139,240. The number of registered voters in the affected PUs of Tafawa Balewa local government is 139,240. Therefore, and in line with sections 26 and 53 of the Electoral Act, and because the margin of lead is not in excess of the total number of registered voters, I declare this election inconclusive.
As the returning officer from the Bauchi State governorship election, let's listen to what happened in Sokoto State as well from the state returning officer.
PDP 489,558 and APC 486,145. The exact margin of win is 3,413, 3413. And we have cancellations in 136 polling units across 22 local governments, and with the number of registered voters 75403, which is far, far higher than the margin of win. As a result of this, I cannot conclude on the winner. So I declare this election inconclusive, and INEC will have to decide. INEC will have to take a decision on this.
As the returning officer from Adamawa State for the Adamawa State Sokoto State governorship election. So in this election in Sokoto State today, you're going to have elections in 22 local government areas and 135 polling units, that which is going to produce votes from 75,403 voters today. Okay, Adamawa State also has a similar story. Let's listen.
We look at the total number of votes which could have been harvested from the total number of voters registered in the 44 PUs in the 29 RAs. The margin of lead principle should apply, and therefore I declare this exercise inconclusive.
All right, that's the returning officer for Adamawa State, and the elections in Adamawa State will hold in 14 local governments and 44 polling units with 40,988 voters expectedly. This is very, very important for the people. All right, Kano has a resident electoral commissioner who also made a declaration. Let's listen.
29 local governments are going to be affected for this supplementary election, where votes cancelled were as a result of violence or overvoting. And we have 76 registration areas with 208 polling units. The total number of registered voters in these polling units is 128,831.
Apparently, it's giving you all the stats that I wanted to give you, but that's pretty much it. 128,831 voters expected in this election today, the governorship supplementary election in Kano State. Now, that is significant. As I said, we'll be bringing you reports from everywhere in Nigeria where the elections will be holding today. So just stay with us here. We'll be right back.